All right, all right. Hey, everybody. Tonight is something different. We're having a different speaker that's not really Beachbody related, but I thought was perfect content for kind of where everybody's at. But I wanted to go over some announcements before I introduce our guest speaker. We are at the middle of the month. It's the 16th. We have 31 days. As you well know, we have the Spring into Health promotion that is still going. This is the perfect time because people, February to May is when people really start focusing on their summer body because they let the holidays get in the way, and then that just, snowballed into really bad eating habits. And I know where people are at. They're waiting for you to reach out to them. And so one thing that I've learned is I've been in a private group that's being ran by our CEO. And we've been sharing kind of little things inside of the team page Robin and I have, that he's shared. But the one thing that I just want to remind all of you guys is that, last night he did like a focus group or something. I'm not exactly sure what it was, where he was faced with people that had major objections about home fitness, about Shakeology, about all these things. And he, at that moment, realized, how we feel as coaches when we're out there talking to people about their goals and inviting them to join our challenge groups and getting, their objections and, their fears. And he had that full circle moment where he understood, but he decided that we have a message and that he believes in what he's doing. And I want you to always take a moment, step back. If you're feeling overwhelmed with where you're at, talking to people or feeling like you're being rejected, is that everybody has a story. You have to love them where they're at, but you also have to understand that everybody, if you treated everybody that you were their last hope, that you were the difference between life and death, or, you were that last person that believed in them because everybody else has given up on them. When you look at that, what you have is a gift and you want to give back to them what you have received from coaching, it makes that job so much easier because anybody who's watching this recording later on or is on tonight is here for a reason. And so when you think that everybody has, the same wants as people that on our team or yourself, and that you're trying to fill that void for them, it seems less drudginous. And really, it's a gift that you're giving everybody. And so, I just really urge you that don't let the rest of the month go by where you haven't reached out to people, you haven't talked to them, that you've let these limiting beliefs that you've had stall you and prevent you from helping other people move further along in their life. I know what coaching has done for me. I understand that it can be overwhelming at times. And I've had to just sit back recently because I felt overwhelmed with so many things that I had myself dumped into and caused me a lot of, feelings of being overwhelmed and I'm not good enough. And I just sit back and look objectively at where I was at and what I was doing and pick and choose what was best for me. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed, I get it, but reach out to somebody. Let's talk about it. Let's come up with things that maybe you can remove from your plate or rearrange things. And that way we can help you move forward because you got started in this for a reason. You're here for a reason. So anyways, just before I turn it over to the speaker, as many of you know, I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. Brandon and Robin and I both went in November, and then we went in March. And one of the most awesome things is that, Tony has, everything about him is what we really preach as coaches, and that's personal development, connecting with people, growing personally, contributing to others. And I love that the two events that I went to, I've been able to connect with a lot of people that attended that event, and most of them I didn't actually meet while we were there, but we've shared our stories since we came back, and we have groups that we're in. And I ran across Lauren when we came back from this last UPW in or was it Los Angeles? And I really love what she shares live and everything on her page. And I asked her to speak on our team about what is perfection. So I asked her exactly what she does. Her company is called What is Perfection LLC. It's a coaching company that offers online services to people who are having trouble breaking free of their limitations, whether it's relationships, body image, life in general, business wise. And I figure that this is something that really can help all of us as we're on our own journey and as we're helping other people, because so many things that hold us up in our health and fitness also hold us up in our relationship and our business. She has a story that's a lot like mine. She was diagnosed with a mental illness. She had been hospitalized like myself, and now she runs a business helping people overcome, leading with her story. And that's something that we share as coaches, is that our story is our gift. And I want to just interject too, that I don't know if you guys have been seeing the posts that we've been sharing in the team page, but Jessie Reagan was sharing free content this last week. Today was the last day, about Facebook ad training. It's something that's not just for coaches, but for anybody. And if you're wanting to move forward in this business, you really need to understand what Facebook is doing. I've heard so many coaches say that their business isn't moving forward because the Facebook algorithm changed. And so the thing is, we have to keep up with the trends. With Beachbody, we're doing Beachbody on Demand. But if you are wanting to do things with this business, I do really recommend, personal development. If that's not your jam, reaching out to somebody like Lauren that can hold you accountable and help you move past these things where they ask the right questions. I work with the Tony Robbins life coach, and it's as great as it is to have you guys as a team, to have personal development, going to Tony events, and I'm going to a Dave Ramsey event next week, and having my own coach, Becky. There's something about having somebody to hold you accountable and ask you the right questions and dig deep, but that helps. And then also having somebody like Jessie Reagan that teaches you about how to once you open up and share your story, how to turn that into a gift and how to empower people and to understand the changes in Facebook so that you don't become, completely obsolete because you're not keeping up with the trends of it. But that's one thing that Jessie was talking about so much, that all the modules that he has in his training was about sharing your story. And so, you can have a great story, but you have to move past your limiting beliefs. So anyways, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to turn it over to Lauren to share more about what she does and her story.
Hi. First of all, I just want to say I'm so honored to be here. I feel like all of you guys, sure are hustling and trying to make those numbers and those ranks, but I think one thing I just want to say is you guys are all doing the world such a service. The huge obesity epidemic, I could speak from experience. I have struggled so much with my weight. I think I've probably gained and lost over 1,000 pounds over the course of my own life, and I'm only 29. So we all know what that feels like. And I think what all of you guys are doing is really noble and awesome. And like Mindy said, the biggest thing is about recognizing your story and your own strength. So, one of the things I was wondering before I stepped on here was I was asking Mindy too, how many of you guys are coaches and how many of you guys are just here trying to take care of your bodies? Because I feel like how I talk to you guys sort of, will depend on that. So Mindy, I don't know if you can answer for the group, but how many coaches do we have on here and how many people are just trying to be a part of the Beachbody community right now?
They're all coaches that are on the call.
Oh, you guys are all coaches. Oh, so I could talk business. Oh, this is so awesome. Okay. So here's the thing. The online market is really, really crazy competitive and oversaturated. So your story and your ability to be unique and stand out is such a gift. Like Mindy, marketing herself as this girl who's totally kicking butt in the sober community and really owning that. That is such a niche. It's so specific and it's so targeted. And she probably has a shit ton of clients who have nothing to do with that. But the truth is that authenticity is what is attractive about her and what markets her to bring in more clients. One of the things that I've worked with and with my business clients, because I work with a lot of people who are in MLMs, is really recognizing that, hey, you got some inner work to do in order to make the ranks you want and in order to make the numbers that you're looking to make. There is a lot of that limiting belief mindset work that needs to be done. So Mindy even brought that up earlier. I think being able to recognize, hey, I want to be successful, but I'm scared of success. That's going to stop you from actually achieving the numbers and the money that you want. Showing up as a leader when you feel uncomfortable leading is going to hit a block where you're not going to be able to reach the numbers that you want to reach. So I just want to definitely touch on that on today's call and just sort of dive in how we can recognize that and how it sort of manifests in your confidence so that you guys can remove those limiting beliefs and start to show up more as a leader in the online space. I would really like to know, I think for you guys, how I can serve you best, really just asking the group, like, what struggles are you coming across right now where you're trying to rep and either make the numbers you want or get the people under you that you want, just so I know how to better help all of you. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Hi, Robin.
Hi. I'm so sorry. I don't know what the question was, but I'm ready to go first anyways.
Yeah. So I think for me, I just want to know how I can help all of you guys. I think that we often look at numbers and we have this very masculine energy approach to business, which is like, I need to rank, I need to make this number, I need to get this status. And we let that masculine energy sort of affect how we approach going after our clients. Mm-hmm. Rather than sort of embracing the storytelling and the narrative of who we are and what we've overcome. And so I want to be able to like throw it to you guys and just ask, like, what is your obstacle right now? What are you trying to hit? And how can I help you remove that block in order to get where you want to be?
Okay. So my biggest obstacle is probably familiar to everybody. And it's that I feel like everybody on this team has heard me say this. I'm not a mom, and I feel like that holds me back, and I'm not inspiring to people, and they won't relate to me because I don't have kids and I don't have the same schedule and all the same responsibilities, and that probably I'm a total, I don't know if you swear or not, but a B for asking.
I curse all the fucking time.
Okay, good. I am so worried about moms being like, you're a fucking bitch for asking me to work out, eat well, take care of my family also, and try to run a business.
I've had somebody tell me that I shouldn't be in a business like this if I'm not a mom, because, like, what do I have to anybody? What can I give to anybody other than telling them to work out?
Interesting. And are you hearing this from moms?
No, I've made it up in my own mind.
Yeah.
I've heard it from moms that I've talked to in the past.
Okay. So here's what's funny.
Yeah,
is that,
but see, I'm 37 and Haley is 18, so we're definitely talking to like different markets and in different places in our lives. Mm-hmm. So I can kind of understand women saying that to Haley at a certain point, but like I'm an adult woman that technically is the age that should have children. So to me, I feel like I understand the because all of my friends have kids. And I understand all of the responsibilities and things that go along with it. So, but I don't live it myself. And so I feel like because I'm not a mom, women are just going to be like, screw you. You have no idea what my life is like. That being said, I have moms that are my challengers and on as discount coaches. So
yeah, so this is really this is a huge thing, but this is, first of all, A+, Robin, that you can stand in the fire and sort of acknowledge what that fear is, even though it is based on bullshit. I kind of wonder, like, Charlie, do you ever feel like, well, I don't have a vagina, so I can't sign on a female? Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's just get real about this. Like, this is so silly. But sometimes we make up those. I'm actually kind of curious now. Do you ever worry about that? Like, is that a thing? No, because you're a guy and guys don't give a shit. They see sales and marketing as like this fun thing, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to get my numbers and it's going to be awesome. And,
Charlie has a harder time talking to men than he has to women. And he's been challenged to reach out to men. And I've been noticing it, Charlie. Good job.
So you're a little flirt then, so you feel more comfortable with women. Is that what this, look, Brandon's laughing his ass off. Okay, so here's the thing. Confidence, right? This is something that is so deeply rooted in what I teach, because it manifests itself in all different ways. So here's a great example of how it's coming up for our businesses. I would challenge all of you guys to write down your limiting beliefs about your business. And this is a huge one that's coming up, is I can't sell to moms because I'm not a mom. Or I can't sell to men because men aren't going to think I'm credible enough because I'm not jacked enough the way I should be. Whatever it is, Charlie, whatever bullshit. I mean, the truth is, like, we all carry these limiting beliefs. But here's the deal. In order to get rid of them, you got to recognize where they're coming from. So Robin, right? Let me ask you something. When was the first time, take the weight out of it, take the body stuff out of it, take the beach body stuff out of it. When was the first time that you felt like you didn't know what you were talking about because you weren't a mom? Was it from your mom coaching you or telling you what to do?
No. It's totally, I can't even really pinpoint it. It's self-imposed because I have I've lost my mother to cancer, and I lost a son to stillbirth, and I had 2 miscarriages. And so it's like I was started down that path, and then it got sidelined. And so it's like I've had this self-imposed feeling of exclusion from the mom world because it was supposed to be my world, and now it isn't. So
really beautiful.
It's hard to say like who made that happen for me other than me.
Yeah. So that's really life experiences sort of piling up on top of you to form a limiting belief. So when you guys make these lists, it's going to be it might be hard for you. You might be like, I don't have any limiting beliefs. I just want to make money. But like the truth is we all have them. We all have them. You know, I had a fear for a long time that I couldn't work with men because I was like, you know, I'm a little girl. I don't know how to teach men about business. Like, what am I doing? So we all have kind of these fears. And what's great is that when you overcome them, you're going to open the door to receiving so much more abundance and money in your business and in your career. But the first thing is you got to recognize them. So I always like to describe limiting belief destruction as a table. So you have at the top of the table is your limiting belief. And in your case, Robin, it is, I'm not a mom, so I can't talk to moms about what they need to do, right? And you have all these life experiences that are the legs of the table sort of stacking up underneath to support that idea. And the more legs you have, the harder it is to get rid of this idea. So Robin, what she's talking about is like, I've lost my mom to cancer, so that mom connection is disconnected. And stillborn, that was supposed to be my life, and it wasn't. And, you know, I have friends who are moms, and I'm not, and that's not in my, so she's like she's got the solid, crazy limiting belief backed up by life experiences. So your limiting beliefs about money are one thing. Your limiting beliefs about who you can sell to are another thing. So when we talk about who we can sell to, you want to recognize, well, I have this belief and this is why, but now I'm going to change it. So Robin, why do you think somebody who is a mom would want to stand in your energy and have you as a coach?
Because despite all of this and despite what life has handed me, I'm a really happy, positive person, and I have a lot of love to give, and I don't have too many other people to give it to. So people that want to work with me are going to get a lot of love.
Yeah. So here's the thing. People don't buy products. They don't. You could be selling poop on the corner of the street. People don't give a shit. They really want to stand in your energy. So if you're the type of person who's really connected to what she's talking about and really passionate about what she's talking about, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. And so for Robin, like if I was a mom with like a bunch of kids at home, I'd be like, fuck, I'm so jealous of this girl. She can work out all the time. Oh my God, she doesn't have the kids screaming. She can go to the bathroom without them like hanging all over her. I got to be in that energy. And you're going to actually attract more moms because you're owning that stuff. You're owning that authenticity of who you are. You should never try to, I think what's happening here is you're pretending to be something that you're not because you're trying to attract that audience, or you're longing to be something that you're not so you can attract that audience. How many moms out there go days where they're like, oh, I wish I was just like back to not being a mom, because it's crazy. You know, Mindy's posting stuff all the time, you know? So I want you guys to remember that people are never buying the product. They're buying into your energy. They're buying into who you are and what you rep and who you're about. And if you're passionate about what you're talking about and you're there to serve, that's a whole nother thing we could talk about. If you're there to serve, you're going to thrive and you're going to make so much money.
So I want to add something in just knowing this, and so some of you guys who've not been at Tony Robbins might be like, dude, Mindy's being a total bitch to Robin, who she says is her best friend, but it's something we learned, and everybody who went will be able to back us up. But Tony talks about that the biggest addiction in the world is suffering. So if you have a story of depression, of I don't know, abandonment issues, problems with getting picked on, whatever it is, if that's your story that caused you pain and that's the only way you get attention, you're going to keep talking about that story to perpetuate it. So I think that it's not on purpose, Robin, but I feel like your reason why you haven't done well, you think that you can't go further in this business, or that you're going to have challenges, is because you aren't a mom. Because then when you say that, you can talk about the pain of losing a child, losing your mom, and so you're not realizing that you're still staying in that suffering state of rehashing this story and saying that these painful events made you do this, and it's still preventing you here forward. And I don't think that you've necessarily connected those dots. Not that you're looking for attention or want to suffer, but it's just a pattern, and then I think your brain's going back to that. Does that make sense? Do you think that I'm?
It does make sense. And I just want everyone to know that I know that Mindy is saying all of this with love because she is my best friend. But I also think like it's part of my story and it's part of who made me who I am. And I don't know how to separate that from like, we all talk about like share our story because it's our sharing that is connecting to people. Yeah. So how do I share that story without it sounding like I'm staying connected to that pain or that whatever?
Beautiful question. So I get asked this a lot because I share everything. Like I was raped my freshman year of college. I was sexually assaulted by 6 men. Like I share that stuff all the time. And my mom's like, why do you have to put that on Facebook? And I say to her, I'm like, no, Ma, I'm not sharing it because I'm in pain. I'm sharing it because I'm empowering people. So the thing you should always pay attention to is how you're sharing it. Because if you can share something with, like right now, Robin, energetically, I just get the sense like you are not 100% healed, but you're pretty, bubbly and happy. And like this shit happened and you're like, yeah, it happened. It sucked. I'm moving on with my life. I'm growing. You're empowered. That means you're ready to share it. So the difference between, somebody who's ready to share something versus not is if you can tell that story without crying or getting emotional, you're done. You're ready to go. You're ready to rock it. And it's about changing the language to target your audience, to show your authenticity and your vulnerability, and to also connect with a specific group of people. So I think what I have oftentimes experienced is that people will sit down to write their narrative and they think of like 40 different types of people that would read it. Like, oh my God, what if my mom sees this? Oh my God, my best friend. Oh my God, my ex-boyfriend. Oh my God, that girl in high school who I don't talk to anymore. You start to rack your brain of like, who is seeing this? And so part of showing up in the online space is really recognizing who's that one ideal client, who's that one specific person you're talking to. And then what you'll find is that you're going to attract a shit ton of other people. But when you show up for that one person, you're authentic, you're real, and you're focused, and your energy is present, and then everything sort of starts to fall into place. That makes sense?
Yeah, totally. And where I'm kind of trying to shift my mind towards, instead of having something that's so specific and niche, like I thought about like, should I be trying to market to women that have fertility issues or loss or whatever? And I'm like, no, what I need to do is talk to the women that have the feelings that I had because of that, and how to connect to them. We all are going to reach to that point from a different story, but we all are going to experience similar feelings and then be able to show them the path out of it, because that's really what it's been for me.
See, everything that brings you guys to the table, I mean, I know we got 2 guys on the line and it's a little hard to, maybe relate to this, but what I think I would love to share with you guys is that everything that brought you to the Beachbody experience has an underlying focus of self-discovery or self-love or just raising your standards as a human being. And so that translates in many different languages. It translates in overcoming the loss of maybe a boyfriend, or overcoming the loss of a girlfriend, or overcoming the loss of a baby. And it happens in multiple ways. So owning your story is really a huge part of this. But I think letting go of those limiting beliefs is huge too, especially about receiving money. So how many of you guys want to make more money? Yeah, Mindy's like, fuck yeah, let's bring it. Yeah, Brandon, did you raise your hand too? Okay. Yeah, you want to make more money, but here's what's really crazy is that 90% of what we know about business and success came from our father, and it came at a really young age. So if we're struggling to obtain the wealth and the success that we want, it's probably because we're not realizing we have some limiting beliefs from when we were younger. I don't know. So who here had like a shitty dad or a shitty mom? Because that was me. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you have a great parent, but you saw growing up from the ages of 1 to 12, that daddy was never home because he was running his own business, and now you're in a loving partnership with a loved one, it's going to be hard for you to step into that strength of business, because subconsciously you're going to be thinking, fuck, I got to sacrifice a lot to get that. And so that's a money limiting belief that you need to let go of. So one of the things I always recommend, you got your limiting beliefs about what you're doing in your business, and then you have your limiting beliefs about money and receiving it in your business. And that's a huge thing. Huge. And this all stems from confidence. It all is rooted in confidence. If you feel like you're not good enough, if that's a constant pattern in your life, I'm not good enough for the girl I want. I'm not good enough for the house I want to buy. I'm not making enough money for X, Y, and Z. That's your story. And like Mindy said, you're going to stay with that story because the devil is better. The devil we know is better than the devil we don't know. So we got to recognize that shit and we got to overcome it. So how we grew up with money is a huge thing. Huge, huge thing. How we look at money in our life, huge, like how we treat it, how we receive it, how we give it, huge. That stuff affects how you show up in your market, because if you're living a life of scarcity and you're pinching your pennies and you're struggling to make ends meet, it's going to be really hard to not have that attitude with the client you're trying to sign. It's going to be really hard. You're going to say, please, please, please sign with me. I promise I'll make this happen. And that's not what really I think a client needs when you're trying to attract them, right? They need that safety net, that security of knowing that they're safe and that they can get what they want. Who here has another question? I like the question stuff because I feel like I can work with you guys and help you sort of discover what's been standing in your way. Mindy might know better. Do you have clients that are like hitting certain obstacles that you want to just like throw into the fire with me?
Well, one of my issues, and I know I can speak for, people on our team and even my challengers, and because I'm going to share this recording later on, is that, we all often get overwhelmed. And I kind of talked about that before the calls. Like, I've been so overwhelmed with I had to just learn to say no to stuff and like take stuff off the table that wasn't really serving me. But, I hear this all the time, and I say it myself, like, I know it needs to be done, but I just don't do it. Brandon and I talk about this all the time, and so it's like, what tips do you have for people? Because we all know, even when it comes to health and fitness, you just cut out the bad shit, you get active, you eat sensibly. Obviously you have to buckle down in some parts, but people for the most part know what's right and how to do stuff, but they just don't do it. So, when it comes to our big goals, our team knows you find your why you want to do that. But are there tips that, because that seems to be a trend, like from outside of our team, that people are like, I know what I need to do, but I just can't do it. I need to find motivation. Like, what do you do when you work with clients when it comes to that?
Yeah. So are you talking strictly in terms of motivation to get their body into the shape they want, or to rank up in their business and their coaching?
To step out of their comfort zone and do the actions, we call them the 4 vital behaviors in the business, and also to step up and finish programs and, share their story, all the things. With our journey, if we don't do shit with our journey, it doesn't matter how good of a storyteller we are or how comfortable we are on social media or in person, we're not going to have anything to tell. So it's kind of, those are things that are intertwined.
Yeah. So that's a great question. I love that. So here's what I would say. First of all, this is a business for all of you guys, right? Any of you doing this part-time or this? Okay, so Brandon's doing this part-time. Charlie's doing this full-time. Way to go. Oh, no, you're doing it part-time. Yeah. Okay, but you all want to do it full-time, right? Okay, so Robin's like this. I love that. My best piece of advice for the business answer to this question is that you got to treat your business like a business, even when it's not. Treat your business like a business even when it's not. I remember when I first started and I had like $0 and was, launching my coaching business, I made business cards and I was like, what the fuck am I going to do this with? I have no audience. I have nobody. But I knew I needed to treat myself like I was a professional business person. And then over time, as I did that, I was able to establish energetically, like, this is a business. And that's what I started to attract people. So if you come up and show up in your space as in a position of leadership, it's going to be really much easier to attract the clients you're trying to attract. Whereas if you say, oh, well, I can't invest in that because I don't have the money right now, but I would, but I want to get my business. So I hear this a lot from people who try to work with me for business coaching. They'll say, yeah, I really want to up-level my business, but I'm not making the money I want to make. So I can't invest in a coach yet. And it's like, you got to take the scary leaps. All of you enrolled in Beachbody because you were taking a leap of faith on yourself, right? You were taking this chance. You invested in yourself, and look how that paid off. Whether it's where your body is now transforming or you're making a little bit more extra money. So you got to remember that if you want people to invest in you, you need to invest in yourself. You know, Mindy has a coach that's a great example. You know, you got to invest in yourself to get other people to invest in you, because it energetically just raises you up, and then you start attracting people who want that rather than people who want to sit around and mope and feed into this story about how they can't have what they want. You're going to go get what you want, and you're going to attract people who want that too. So that's the first thing. I hope that makes sense. The second thing I would say is that if you know you got to get some shit done, finding a reason why, like Mindy mentioned, is awesome. But I want to elaborate on that, and that it's not just about the physical why. So I think when I hear people talk about the why, they say, oh, well, I want to, let's take this as a business example. Why do you want to make more money? Well, I want to, you know, pay off my house, and I want to pay off my debt, and I want to pay off my schooling. And they focus on all these physical things that they could achieve with their money. And most of them are about removing a debt. That's never going to be the incentive to make money. It's never going to be, because debt is like this cloudy little thing that's hanging over you. And sure, it may stress you out, but that's never going to drive you to like passionately achieve your business. It should be, well, I want a beautiful house and I want to travel the world. And so getting clear, like I always tell people to make a receiving money list. What are all the things you're trying to receive your money for? What are you trying to achieve? When you have that list, you know, you get a little bit more inspired about your reason for showing up in the business professional space. So making that money list, you know, like I have one, it's on my left side of the desk all the time. I want to buy my dream car, which I did, you know, go on a trip to Hawaii, like the fun stuff, right? Because you're in this to like live your life, not just to survive, right? You're in this to live an amazing life. So when you get clear about that, it will give you more of a reason why that's a little bit more sexy and lucrative and exciting. But then also the emotional why. The emotional why is really important, because businesses are all run by emotion. I don't know if you guys have ever read a book, any of you. It's called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And it talks about, Mindy's raising, yeah, it's a great book. And it talks about companies that really understand their reason why. You know, Apple, for instance, Apple's, you know, mission statement had absolutely nothing to do with computers. And they're right. Oh, that's awesome. He's going to be at the event. That's so cool. Yeah, so their mission statement had nothing to do with computers, and yet here they are, like the most profitable company ever, because they knew their reason why. And the reason why wasn't the facts. It was like the spirit of things. So getting the emotion really in line with what it is you're doing. So words like freedom, adventure, joy, success, stability, clarity, excitement, you know, these are the emotional reasons why you guys are all in the business. And that reason why will keep you a little bit more focused. Another thing on this, just to be all nerdy and give you guys some tools for your clients, because we want our clients to succeed too, right? Like not just us. So there's a lot of my coaching has to do with the emotional healing of weight loss, because some people will yo-yo diet the rest of their lives and never get what they really want. And it's because they're not doing the emotional work. So some people need the emotional work and some people don't. But when you want to change your body, you got to get clear. There's a process called the Dickens process. So get clear about why something must change. This is what you should always tell your clients. Why must I change this is the first question you should be asking them. And the second question is, why must this change now? In other words, what is my life going to look like in 3 years if I don't change this? What is it going to look like in 5 years? What's it going to look like in 10 years? And I guarantee you walk a client that you're trying to sell through that process, and they're going to go, oh my God, in 10 years, I imagine myself dead. Because they're done. They're so done with this. They've had such a hard time losing the weight they want, getting the body they want. And when they imagine where they're going to be in those years, it's like, holy shit. Oh my God. So that reason why is going to not only give your clients the ability to take massive action and stay focused on their journey, but it's also going to give them the incentive to sign up with you. That makes sense? Yeah. So who on the call, I'm curious, like has a problem signing clients? Like you get clients interested, but then they're like, eh. Brandon?
Oh,
Robin. Brandon, what do you hear from people when they say no?
It's not for them. They don't want to, it's like they don't want to come outside their own little, outside their life. Like I'm working with a guy now that he keeps using his to-do list so he can't work out because he's tired because he's working 12-hour shifts, which I do relate to that, but yet I overcome it, but yet he's taking care of a baby. That's his grandchild, I believe. And working 12-hour shift, he flips nights to days, Sundays, on and off. So, and then his wife's to-do list. So he makes a lot of excuses and can't get, and I've used exactly what you said. I've used all those stuff again to him, asked him, I've been trying to get him to use books. I've been trying, all this stuff, but he just can't find that one thing that keeps him on track.
Yeah, it's really, this is a hard topic because I feel like all of you guys are very emotionally connected to what you do. And there are people you're going to come across who just can't be saved. They're either not ready, or they're really stuck to their story, or they're hanging around in limiting beliefs. I think the two biggest things that always come up, and you guys probably know this, is time and money. Time and money. And it's never about the time, and it's never about the money. It really isn't. It's never about those two things. And so there's a method I use when I sign clients. It's this flowing method. And so by the end of the call, when people say that, one of the things I always say to my clients is like, look, I'm totally unattached to you signing with me. But do you see how that mindset is keeping you stuck? So one of the things I would say to this guy, Brandon, who you're struggling with to sign, is like, look, I'm totally unattached to getting you to work with me, but I am attached to helping you break this cycle of not getting your body where you want it to be. But do you see how this excuse of time and not having enough of it is playing into you being stuck? Like, you want to call people out on their shit, but you want to do it in a way that's keeping them safe and healed and really, comfortable with you. Like, you don't want to be that bitch who's like, just fucking sign with me.
I've called him out several times in a polite way, and he always thanks me for it, but yet he still says he's trying to find his way.
Yeah. Yeah, and some people need that. Like, some people do need, I think the best, comparison is like rock bottom. Like, how many rock bottoms are you going to hit? Some people need to hit 20. Like, it's just, that's how it is. I think that recognizing the difference between somebody like that and somebody who really wants to be worked through their fears is brilliant. Mindy, how long is this call? Because I don't want to keep you guys too long, so we're okay, right?
We usually run an hour, so you're good.
Okay. So you want to pay attention to, in the flowing method that I use, you want to let the client talk, really listen to what their struggles are. When you hear their struggles, you want to follow up. And I don't know if this is different than what Mindy uses, so, I don't want to step on anybody. But when you find out what they want, you want to honor that. You want to say, well, it sounds to me like you really are looking for more of that, confidence that you're longing for, or you're looking for that, energy and that vitality that you're craving. And you want to level with them and give them a little bit of the coaching that you offer and tell them a little bit about your product. And then you go into money prices and what it costs, right? And then it's like, well, how much time will I have to spend doing this? And how much money does this cost? And, when people come up with fears of money, they want to be worked through it because they're coming to you for help. All these people are coming to you for help. So when money comes up and time comes up, don't be afraid and don't run for the hills. I feel like Robin, I don't know. I just feel like you and I probably do the same things for what I used to, which is oh, no? Okay, bye. Message me later. Sorry to bother you. Yeah, but you don't have to. I
definitely do that because most of mine are people I'm going to, not people that are coming to me. Oh. And I think a lot of us are in that too because we aren't as at the level that Mindy is at where she has a following and she has a group, she has the reputation that people are attracted to her and asking to work with her. The rest of us are out there digging and clawing and grabbing for people and please come to me. And so when they say, oh, I can't afford that, it's like, oh, okay.
want to say,
and I could not afford it when I started, but that was still a bullshit story I told myself.
Yeah, you can afford anything.
I will say, when I started, I've been honest about this, and maybe people miss it, and it's still a struggle for me now, but I never did the vital behavior of invite, because I did such a good job of connecting with people that I never had to go to anybody that didn't seek me out. And so I always share that with people, and I want to correct Robin on that, is the fact that that's a limiting belief too, saying that you guys have to go out and chase people, because I've never chased people. I followed up with people, but they always initiate it with me. So I will say that when you learn to be confident, when you learn to share your story, when you learn to step up as a leader, do all the things that you need to be doing consistently and showing up daily, people are going to come to you and be attracted to you. You're going to attract. Sometimes I attracted the wrong people, and that was part of me just trying to figure out who I was in the last 5.5 years. But I still struggle with just cold inviting people because of that, because I've done a really good job in 5 years of just sharing my story, sometimes the wrong way of like, oh my God, look at me, P90X, and like just driving people crazy. But people knew where I stood for. And so that's the one thing that I want to encourage everybody, is that do it sloppy, do it ugly, do whatever it is. And then when it doesn't work, figure out and tweak things around. But you don't necessarily have to go out and be just cold inviting people that don't want that, because then that gives you that icky feeling. Then that gives you that sense of rejection. And if you're inviting all these people that aren't in your warm market or don't have anything in common, and you keep getting no's, then in your mind, you start telling yourself, nobody wants this, which that's not true, because there's abundance of people. But when you just start authentically sharing your story, and you're in everybody's space, that when they have a bad day, they remember that, oh, Robin just shared, on Mother's Day that she had a really shitty, life of being a motherless child, a childless mother, blah, 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 but she's still, in great spirits. And then whenever something happens to them, they're like, I'm going to go to Robin's page because she gives me the feels whenever I'm feeling like shit, and so that's the thing, is you don't always have to do that. Obviously there are coaches out there who take massive action, but that's also the one thing that I've been learning in the Jesse Reagan, which I already knew. It was just a reminder of that. Megan Wazinski was speaking on the live call tonight, and it was talking about that everything she shares is very authentic. It's not perfect. She's not wearing her makeup. Her life's kind of a disaster with her second kid. It's nothing. It's just real life.
You know what it is? It's realness. And I think that, you're 100%, Mindy. I think knowing that about you, I'm like, oh, I like her even more, because the truth is, like, none of you guys should be having to do something like that in your business. Like, I used to think I had to do that, and it fucking sucked. And then one day I was like, it must have been like the first 3 months of my business, and I was like, I can't do this. So the energy you put into cold calling, I would say put that energy into content creation, and really asking yourself, well, what is my narrative? What is the story I have to tell? What are the educational tools I have? Because this goes far beyond following a nutrition plan and drinking a shake. I mean, it goes so far beyond that. And so you really have to get vulnerable in order to make, I think in the female market specifically, you got to get vulnerable and share your story. And that's what attracts people. So you guys should all be able to be at a point of bliss, which is, for me and my business at least, is like, hey, I just got to show up and create content, and the universe is going to have my back, because I'm not showing up to make money. I'm showing up to serve. And so when you align with service, you never worry about making money, because you always make it. You never worry about getting where you want to be, because you always get there. And you're going to be able to make a difference attracting the clients you want to attract. Does that make sense?
And that's
a very true approach, but
it doesn't have to be all Beachbody. And that's what, what I was noticing is that these people, they share, they give, they get people to know them, they earn that trust. And then when boom, they launch this, a couple times a month, a Beachbody post like, hey, you have the Spring into Health thing. Then they earned that post because people have been following them. They trust them. They know them. And we've talked about this before. Like, I literally would walk across fire continuously for Tony, because I never even met the man. But like when he was crying, I cried because I felt so connected to him. And you can create those things, because Charlie, before he joined our team, he watched my stuff. He showed up to events where I was at, and there was things that I would say to him through text message or messenger, and he would cry because it meant so much to him, even though we really hadn't spent that much time. And then now in the last 2 years, he's been coming over, hanging out at the house, spending the weekends with his kids. He's part of the furniture, because we literally built that strong of a connection, because I was his best friend before he was my best friend. Like, he followed me and then we got close, and then now this is what's happening. So when you have that presence there and people feel like they know you and they can trust you and they love you and they like you and they'll do anything, then when you say, boom, this UV2 new like Richard Simmons type shit just launched today, they'll be like, well, that Richard Simmons was a goofy bitch, but I'll do whatever you're doing because I want to be your friend and I trust you. And that's really all it is. And, you know, I do have to follow up with people. I do have to message them. I do feel like sometimes I am chasing people but they're always people that came to me because I pop up.
So it's them when they don't show up, the people you're chasing them because they're hiding behind their fear. Mm-hmm. So it's always like the fear of not being enough or the fear of not being loved. This comes up all the time. It's the reason why you guys probably feel so icky when you reach out to strangers because it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to be enough. I'm not, you know, I mean, that's a very silly way to put it, but that's the truth. You don't want to be rejected. You don't want to experience that lack of love or that insult or that, you know, go away, stop hounding me. I would say to anybody who's really struggling with that stuff, like do the inner work. Do the inner work. The more inner work you do on yourself, the more you will open up in your own life to receiving. It's so true. It's so true. I mean, even on my own journey, when I started working with a coach and I started doing the PD stuff and I started showing up to grow myself while I was also growing my business, like I made them the same priority, right? Because you are your business. You are your brand. So you got to treat yourself with that respect. So the minute you start showing up that way, that's the minute that you start taking care of yourself and then your business booms because you are taking care of yourself. So it's kind of like they go hand in hand. And the more work you do on you, the more you thrive, the more your business thrives and vice versa. Absolutely.
You know, and the biggest thing is, I just want to reiterate to anybody who's on or anybody who's watching is you have to be consistent. You have to show up. People, it's law of attraction. People are going to get with you because you don't always have to be a ray of fucking sunshine. But when the dark cloud comes, you better be able to turn around and be able to be like, well, honestly, you know, I mean, like I've shared recently, you know, with Robin and Melissa, I'm like, you know, I'm feeling really fucking overwhelmed, but I just really want to like punch people and I just want to like set my phone down and walk away from it. I'm honest about it. And I've been asking other people, like, how are you feeling? I talked to my life coach about it. And as I'm trying to like get my feels out of like how to deal with this and not feel that way, because it's nothing's permanent, then I'm going to go out and share with people, this is how I was feeling. You know, allow myself to be vulnerable, allow myself to be honest. So like my life's not perfect. I want to punch people in the face and I want to like give up on this business, and people sometimes too, just like the other coaches, like, you know, I get frustrated, but I can always turn it around. But I always have content, and I guarantee when people say, I don't have anything to say, yes, you do. You're just too afraid to say it. You're too afraid to say it out loud. You're too afraid to share it with people. You're too afraid to do what you have to do to turn it around, you know? And so the thing is, everybody has a story. I'm more screwed up than most of the people on this call. I know your guys' story. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. But you have to be consistent, because I'll tell you, I hear all the time from people that, oh, you know, I was talking to so-and-so, but they seem to have fallen off the wagon, so I'm coming to you now. And so the thing is, like, no matter what goes on in my life, no matter, like, everybody on the team knows that 2015 was a horrible life, I'm still here. I will be the last man standing, and I will be the one to pick up all these little crumbly, you know, conversations that other coaches have had that they gave up on. Be the coach that stays there. Be the coach that doesn't give up on people and that always shows up and is always fucking there. Good or bad, rain or shine, whether it's convenient or not. And if this business isn't for you and you don't have that servant heart, then, you know, get out of it. But most of the time, it's like we all have that empathy, and we were designed with it. We all want to help people. So if you don't want to help people, I will call bullshit, and you need to go past that, whatever limiting belief that is, that somebody hurts you and made you think that people aren't worth it. I mean, because there's children, babies are proof that kids that we're born with empathy and love, and we want to nurture and take care of people. And I hear people all the time, I don't like people, and I was one of those people, I don't like people, or people are dumb, or people are this. It's because somebody treated you that way and you attracted those people, and it reinforced that feeling, and so you've just given up on people. And, you know, so that really is, it's not that you don't want to help people, just you need to work on that part of you.
Can I share something about being consistent and showing up every day, whether you feel like it or not? Tonight, I got a message from somebody who is not my customer, has said no to me like 3 or 4 times already. So she's like 3 or 4 no's away from a yes. She sent me a message and said, I tagged you in a post because someone is interested in live workouts. She said someone else suggested you too. That should make you feel awesome. Get it, girl. I don't know who this person is that also suggested me. I literally have no idea. But the fact is that because I show up every day, and it doesn't matter that my belly is showing and my whatever is, my house is messy behind me, or my dog is barking at me during my workout, that has stuck in her mind. And then she went on to tell me about how I do so many empowering things, and I share so much positive stuff that I help her every single day without me knowing it.
Yeah. What a gift. I mean, really aligning yourself. Yeah. Robin, here's what you should do. Like, sit with that, energetically sit with it, and just really think about how that feels, because that's what you're trying to attract. And when you honor that feeling and be like, oh my God, like I got to help somebody, that feels incredible. My voice is being heard and I don't even know it. That's awesome. And sitting with that feeling and really aligning yourself with it will allow you to experience more of that feeling. So you guys are chasing things that you're not really too sure, besides the number as the significance of, hey, I achieved this, the add-on into your downline. What are you really chasing? Like, what is it? It's that feeling. It's that feeling of, I'm making a difference. I'm serving the world with my talents. And what Mindy said, which is so true, the limiting beliefs about people are huge, huge. I was bullied for a very long time in my life, and I had a really hard time showing up in a leadership position because I was like, oh shit, I'm going to get bullied on social media. And I was like paranoid about it. And I think actually when I stopped giving a shit about that and I started focusing more on the people I was talking to, when you know who your target market is and the specific person you're talking to, you don't give a shit because you're helping people. So showing up for that specific person and getting clear about what it is they need from you is going to be really helpful. And you guys all have stories to tell. You all have stories to tell. The other thing too, really important to mention, you're never going to arrive. Mindy is still working on her body every day. I'm still working on my personal development and business skills every day. You're never going to arrive. It's going to be this continuous journey. So, Robin's mentioning like the house is messy and the dog is barking. People want to see that shit. That's the realness. That's the realness that makes you you. And that's what will attract more clients to you when you get open and honest about what's going on in your life.
Can I ask you a question about like best practices or ideas for how to get your potential people to open up and like talk to you? Because we hear a lot like, let them talk. But most of the time, like maybe I'm asking the wrong questions, but I get a lot of crickets. And I think that maybe other people that are on the call might have that experience too. So like, what's a way that we can like really get people to open up to us so that we can lead them down that road?
Yeah. So is this all on Facebook, this engagement that you're talking about? It's all on Facebook, right? Okay. So what are you sharing on your Facebook? Are you being open and are you being naked? Because if you're not being open and naked, no one else is going to want to do that for you. That's the truth. And I'm not talking like, hey, this was my struggle. I didn't want to work out today, but I did. Yay, me. Like, I'm talking like the real nitty gritty stuff, the hard stuff, the emotional work. When you share that realness, you are going to get an influx of people opening up to you without you even asking. Like, you'll get crazy messages like, oh my God, you said this and this and this and this happened to me. Like, the more you share, the more you will receive. That's the first thing. The second thing I'd say is that if you are you talking about people who you've reached out to cold? Or are you talking about people who will message you? Like, give me an example so I know how to like work on this. And Charlie had some too, so I want to ask him also.
So usually, sorry, my dog is standing on me. Usually so I'm reaching out to people cold, but it's people that I've already built a relationship with, like we're friends, and then I'm inviting them to something. And more so than just like a out of the blue message to somebody I've never talked to. I would never do that. But occasionally people that have seen my post and responded to it, and then one way or another they've responded to my call to action and we're having a conversation, and then they like clam up and like don't want to.
Well, because they think you're selling to them.
What's that?
Because they think you're selling to them and they don't want to be sold to.
Yeah, but what about like when you have just been sharing your thing and then they reach out to you and then they clam up?
What do they reach out to you and say?
I really need to get in shape. I really need to lose weight. I really need to blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And then like I reach back out to them and talk about like, I would love to help you with that, blah, 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 blah. and like talk to me about what you want to work on specifically, or what's something that you would really like to change, and then like nothing comes back.
Okay, so this is a juicy example. So here's what I would say is that Facebook is the biggest tool and also the worst enemy. So it's a tool and it's a tool, okay? So here's what I mean is that you have the ability to reach millions, but you also have the ability on Facebook for 1 million people to ignore you and never respond. So one of the things I always recommend to MLM clients who are just starting, I know this might be different for you guys, but try it out and see how it works. Go and get an account on like Calendly, which is a scheduling thing. It's Calend with L-Y at the end, Calendly. And it's an application where you can create like time slots in your schedule. This is how I book all my clients. Time slots in your schedule for phone calls and contacts. And you can feel like, do I want half an hour calls? Do I want 45-minute calls? Do I want 1 hour? When you have a client who reaches out to you and says, I need to lose weight and I need help, you got to honor that client's time just like you want them to honor you and say, hey, I would love to help you with that. Why don't we have a call to talk about it? I want to help you as best I can. And I know Facebook is a little kind of, multitasking. When can I get you on a call? Here's my schedule. Here's a link to my calendar. Put yourself on my calendar for the time that works best for you, and let's jam out on a call. And when you get that person on the call, you say, hey, what's going on? They're going to go, oh my God, it's such a mess. I stepped on the scale and this happened. And they're going to word vomit all over you. These people are struggling and they feel like nobody's listening to them. And Facebook, even though it's fast, they want to have a voice. These people want to have a voice. You get somebody on a call and the first thing you do is you find out what they want. That's the F, right? And you listen to why they want it. And then you observe and you say, hey, it sounds to me like you're really looking for X, Y, and Z. I could totally help you get that. And then you want to get on their level and work with them, and you want to give some of your story. Share a little bit about who you are. Let them know that you're struggling or you used to struggle with something that they're totally going through and that they can overcome it. And then you plug the program, you plug the tool, X, Y, and Z, and then that's when time and money stuff comes up. But the phone call is really the first step, guys. Charlie, what about you? Does that help, or do you think you get other issues on Facebook?
No, that actually helped a lot.
Good.
When I get them on the phone, it's money.
Yeah.
If I can get them talking on the phone, I love that. I have a problem with actually getting them to talk on the phone. We'll set up a time and they'll go, well, I can't do it right now. I'll say, okay, when? Because I always make them tell me the time. That way I'm not bugging them. I'm doing what I said I was going to do. But a lot of times they come up with an excuse or a reason why they can't get on the phone with me.
Yeah, so that's why that application is really brilliant, because I used to have the same exact problem. I'm actually looking up how to spell it now so I could share it with you guys in the link on the side. There you go. So I used to have this problem where people would reach out to me and they'd want calls, and then I would be like, okay, well, I have, if you don't use Calendly, you always want to give people 3 options so it feels like they're still making the choice, but it's respecting your time. So you never want to go like, hey, when works for you? Because then they'll go, I don't know. I'll get back to you. I have no fucking clue. But when you give people options, they're making the decision. So I used to do, I have this time, and this time, what works best. And then I got exhausted. And so then what I did to make myself feel more professional was I, made a free account on Calendly. And it was like, okay, you want to book a call with me? Here's my calendar. You pick. And now I don't even worry about it. Like, you guys are worried about so much in running your own businesses. You don't want to keep adding shit to your plate. You want to make it easier for yourself. So yeah, I recommend that. And then the day before the call, you just message them. You say, hey, I know we're talking tomorrow. I'm so excited. I'm so honored and excited to host you and help you and do what I can, and serve that client. Anybody else have questions? You're on mute, honey.
I want to just add in something that, it's something that Tony talks about, and something that I've been really focusing on. I know Robin's been focused on, is the law of attraction. Most people focus on what they don't want. And it kind of hit me the other day. I always said to people, I'm like, I never wanted kids. I always loved kids. I was great with kids, but I never was that person who was like, oh, I can't wait to get married and have kids. Like, my mom, the woman who raised me, all she wanted to do was get married and have babies. Like, and guess what? My dad didn't really seem to want kids, and then she was infertile. The infertility obviously wasn't something I believe she attracted. It was something that happened because of fertility drugs her mother took. But it's just so funny. And I was always like, well, what about me? I'm like, I never had these like, you know, like, oh, my wedding dress, you know, I never had these things. And then here I was married 3 times with 3 different kids. And it was one of those things, whenever you were saying that you didn't want, and when I said I didn't want it, it was because I didn't think that I was worthy of it, or that I would do a good job, and that I would be a good mom, I would be a good wife, because of the stuff that happened to me as a kid. And then consequently, I had issues with trying to be a good mom, or trying to be a good wife. And the law of attraction is big, you know, and when you focus on, I don't have money, I don't have money, I don't have money, then you don't have money, and money doesn't show up abundantly. And then, you know, those things translate into your transactions with people. That if you're focusing on like, oh my God, I don't have money, and you're like, people can just smell the desperation that you really don't want to help them, you just really want their money, or that you're giving them promises to get their money, but you don't really, it's not genuine, you know, like to who your personality is or your services you have, that's what's going to happen. And then I noticed too that my biggest excuses lately are like, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. Guess what excuses I get from everybody? They don't have the time and they don't have the money. And guess what? If you're throwing those things out like dollar bills, you're not going to have a good comeback, because you're like, yeah, I get you. So, you know, the thing is, focus on the right things. Tony does talk about that. You don't look in the mirror and be like, I'm so rich, $1 million show on my step. It's not that you have to do some hokey thing like that. But when you're focusing on like, oh my God, so stretched out, I don't have money, then, you know, next thing you know, about a bill's going to come that you don't expect. Or if you're like, oh my God, there's, you know, my kids are always so bad, then you're going to be stressed out. They're going to feed off that. They're going to be bad. So make sure that the energy you're expounding isn't actually projecting the situation that you are worrying about. Because I have a long list of things that I have done that in my life, and they have turned out to be true. Whether you believe it or not, it's going to happen.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. One of my biggest months that I had financially, I was like celebrating it. I was so happy in this year. And I was like, whoa, like I'm so excited. I'm so awesome. And then I got this letter in the mail that my former landlord was suing me for back rent. And I automatically went into scarcity mindset, right? Talking about the law of attraction. And I was like, oh my God, why is this happening? It's like the universe is screwing me. I was so devastated. I'm like, I don't understand why now, like why on this month where I'm supposed to be celebrating am I being tested? What you'll find, you know, talking about the law of attraction, is that when you grow, like if this is your base and this is where you're starting and you level up, it's like you stretch and all of the shit that was buried underneath here starts to surface. So when you start experiencing, you know, law of attraction stuff I do all the time, when you start to experience some of that, like, I was doing so well and now, oh, like what's happening, that resistance to getting where you want to be, it's because you are growing. And when you grow, the universe like doesn't know the difference between bad shit and good shit. It's going to help you heal from all that other stuff that's coming through. So if you've ever put stuff on the back burner that you haven't taken care of financially, and you notice it kind of pops up at the worst time, like, fuck, why now am I getting this bill? It's because you have been growing and you're stretching into this new version of yourself. And it's like all this other shit needs to be worked on. So that's a totally different perspective of the law of attraction that I don't think a lot of people really relate to. The law of attraction, you think about what you're trying to manifest, but remember, you need to focus on the emotion associated with it. So if you're trying to attract more money, why? Because it feels fucking good, right? Feels free and relaxed and exciting and adventurous, right? Those words I was talking about before. When you align yourself with those emotions, you will also attract more. So law of attraction, guys, doesn't know the difference between what's bad or what's good. If you pay attention to it, it's going to come up. Yeah, I love the law of attraction. There's so many good books that cover, love. Esther and Jerry, the Abraham stuff with Esther and Jerry Hicks, really good to read if anybody's ever read those. Yeah, but do the work, whatever it is that speaks to you, whether it's the woo-woo stuff or the law of attraction stuff or the Tony Robbins stuff. Jen Sincero has some great stuff for personal development if you're looking into it. Find something that energetically speaks to you, because everybody's different. Everyone's different. But you need it. Makes sense.
Yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
If anybody has any questions, reach out to her. Did you give me your website?
It's whatisperfection.com. There's a free 5-day self-confidence challenge on there too. If you girls, it's kind of like a more girly marketed website. Sorry guys, but it would definitely suit you if you wanted to use it too. Goes through some of letting go of the lack and the limiting beliefs that you guys have that's like standing in your way. So, yeah. So whatisperfection.com.
Well, I hope you guys reach out to her and follow her on Facebook as well, because she has some great live content. And the thing is, I really encourage you guys, and this is something that I'm notorious for buying programs and stuff and not doing the work. And I've been forcing myself to sit down and do the work. So, she said, write down a list of your limiting beliefs when it comes to personal, to business, your leadership skills, to what your mindset is around money. Maybe it was the way you were raised. My stepdaughter and I, we talked about this a lot, about the way she was raised financially. Went the opposite end. She has different mindset on money because of the way she was raised. I went a different way because I watched my parents struggle, and then I fell back into it. Look at these things so that you don't end up falling back in the same trap, or that you are making smart moves, and also making a list of where you want to receive your money. Because so many of us, I've talked to so many of you, and it's like, and I'm guilty of this too. I want to get rid of debt. Well, once you have that debt, like, it's kind of a drudgeonous thing. You're like, oh God, I'll never get paid, pay off my debt. So let's just go buy a freaking cheeseburger, or go for a trip, or go, get my nails done or something. But, whenever you focus on, let's do something great, it's kind of like it's something signals, well, I do need to pay off that debt before I go do something great. But, write these things down. Write down how this makes you feel. I know my stepdaughter, Haley, like, I've been watching her do these vendor events, and I see that, that euphoric look and sound in her voice when she rocks these, events where she connects with people, when she does jam up, presentations, and it looks awesome, and everybody in the team's like, wow, we're so proud of you. Like, everybody does this for different reasons, and then really focus on, if you're unhappy where your business is, your fitness, your weight, your health, your social circle, then be like, why do I need to change this? Because if you're miserable, it's going to be your fault if you stay miserable. So you need to look at, like, well, why is this making me miserable? What do I need to change? And if I refuse to change it because I'm clinging on to these limiting beliefs, aka excuses, then where's my life going to be 5 years and 10 years from now? And if you're totally happy with the way that looks, then that's cool. Then just stay there. But if you're not happy, then you have all these tools. You have Lauren, you have me, you have personal development, you have people in the team to lean on. So the thing is, like, one of the biggest things I've been sharing in the team, or all of you guys are my personal sponsor coaches, is the playbook. And part of it is, like, tap into the resources, get connected with your team. So the thing is, like, you have no excuses to fail. And I posted about this publicly, about the shift shop, to anybody out there, challengers, coaches. To fail in this business, you really have to work hard to fail, because you really have to extract yourself from all of us, not respond, not show up. Like, you have to put in the work to fail. So we're here to help you succeed. I'm not going to chase you, but we're going to be here, and I'm going to keep checking on you. And we as a team are going to keep checking on you. If you fail, it's because you purposely put in the energy to fail. So I will say, purposely put in the energy to succeed, because you got all this love and all this support and all these resources, and they ain't going anywhere. So
yeah, you guys have an awesome coach. Mindy's phenomenal. I think one of your greatest gifts, like, how to stand in the fire with your clients, and that's huge.
We actually
really
fire together, a couple of us. Haley wants to say something before we end.
I just want to say, I promise you it wasn't bored. I don't know if anybody noticed me, like, looking off.
Yeah.
I have bears. I have ADD. It's super bad. But I have bears, and they're all over my house right now. And so I'm looking for them in the trees, because we have 2 cubs. Their mom is over on the hill, but I'm looking for the cubs because I know they went up one of these trees. That's why I came out here. I was like, I got to see the cubs. So I promise I'm
get eaten. And I did send a video of you to your father saying, I think your daughter's high. Don't worry, guys, I don't do that to the rest of the call, just to my.
No, I'm looking for my bears. I want to see them again, because I got to see, like, a little glimpse of them, but I want to, like, actually see them.
Well, take a picture and post it and let me see it. Just don't get eaten, okay? All right, so in closing, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm not going to be back till late Wednesday. So Charlie Boy is going to be doing our team call next Tuesday. So show up, show out for Charlie. And Charlie, be prepared because Robin's going to have lots of questions because she did not attend that event that you're presenting on. So anyways, I'm really big on paying it.
Ready, Charlie? I'm going to bring it.
I'm going to be muting you.
All right, so I am big about paying it forward. So please, when you get off this call, please think about one takeaway, one aha moment, something that Lauren gave to you, because she provided a shit ton of free value here, and honor her. Give her some, props on Facebook, because she worked with a lot of you, and I know some of the stuff she said resonated with some of you guys, as long as you guys weren't getting lost with bears or something, but I know that there was something that you got out of this. So go and don't just do something generic like, wow, Mini Spin, Lauren was so awesome. She was just great. Be like, wow, Lauren was really awesome. She really called me on my shit, and I'm going to put this into action. I mean, I'm not telling you what to say, but be descriptive, because I see so many coaches out there who just go through the motions and they just splatter stuff out on the newsfeed. I'm not picking on you guys, but I see it all the time on my newsfeed. It's just like they just throw it out there, and there's nothing there that makes anybody be like, well, who is this Lauren chick? Wow, I need that. That's so cool. Oh, I didn't know that you were struggling with that. I struggle with that. Do something that makes somebody go, wow, okay, this is cool. And also, too, I am always inviting people to our team calls, and I don't want them thinking some corny shit. Like, this is relative stuff. You didn't have to be a coach to be on this call. So when you share something that signals to people that this wasn't just, successful points and rank advance and blah, 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 blah. This was like real life stuff to help us as people. That's what they need to understand that coaching is that we're really here to help you grow as people. I could care less if you're a freaking 15-star diamond. If you hate yourself and you're not confident and you're not pleasant to be around, I don't really care. That doesn't give me joy. But when I see people who've stepped out of their comfort zone and they show up every day in their own power, where they're at, and they keep growing, that shit fills my cup. So
that's a gift. Such a gift.
Anyways,
Can I share something?
Oh, yes, Stephanie, please do.
Okay, so I haven't put this out there publicly, but I just found out that I'm in the pre-diabetic range. So I have no choice but to change everything.
Well, you've been saying all along that you were looking for that extra push. I will say that I'm not trying to be crass, but when you look for those things, if you're not specific to the universe of what you want, they'll give you what you want, and they gave it to you. And it's not in the form that you want. But the great thing is you have all of us to support you. You have a lot of people who've been pre-diabetic or are diabetic. And guess what? We have the best tools on fucking earth to get you back in shape. And your coach lives very close to you. I know where you live, so I will come kick your ass if I see you with a donut in your mouth. Okay?
Well, thank you.
Rebel. Hey, don't forget Rebel. Rebel will do the exact same thing. You just tell Rebel. You be like, hey, you watch out for Stephanie because she's going to get you.
Well, we love you. We love you. And I'm sorry that you're going through this, but I hope that this is something that is a huge wake-up call. As you know, I've told it a million times before. My mother-in-law died, and it's been almost 2 years ago, and a lot had to do with her diabetes. She didn't get to live a full life. She wasn't really present because of her eyesight and her disabilities. And this is the whole, why must I change this now? Because 5 years, 10 years from now, you're going to be a grandma. And I don't ever want you to live back with that regret that I know my mother-in-law, she did the best she could, and she was the fucking best grandma ever. But I know she could have been so much more had she taken care of herself now in her life. And so I feel very passionate about this. So I'm your friend. You're one of my best friends, and we all stand together and we all love you. We're not going to let you give up on yourself. And so,
hey, Stephanie, Stephanie, I gotta tell you something. This is not the fucking end. It's the beginning. Okay. So I know you're crying, and I know that you're so filled with emotion right now, but fucking use every piece of that energy to propel you to never go back to this. This is like Mindy said, this is your fucking wake up call. 10 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to do this change. You're going to make it happen right now.
Stephanie, I'm going to say the same thing. We all love you and care about you, and you are strong. You've done a lot in your life, and you have been quietly strong for a long time. Now's the time for you to be like roar like a fucking lion strong. Like put your strength out there and be loud about it and say that this is not the end. This is like the end of the old me. This is the end of the bullshit that I let myself do before. And declare it on Facebook, put it out there, because you have no idea how many people love you and are going to come out in force to support you.
How many people you can influence by that,
end of that, and I am ready for the new thing, and it's not going to stop me. I'm going to stop it.
I was just listening to what Meg Wazinski was talking about, and she was like, oh, I had this like facade that I had to live up as a coach, and for a whole year she did not talk about her Hashimoto's and all these, you know, health issues she was having. And then finally she opened up and she was like, oh my God, I have this brand new niche, this brand new audience, and I have all this support, and I, you know, was trying to be perfect, which is kind of what this call's been about, you know, that there's no such thing as perfection, and we preach all the time that you can coaches come in all forms. So this is another chapter of your life, and this is life or death. I mean, this is whether you see or don't see. This is whether you get to see your grandbabies. My mother-in-law never got to see what my children actually look like. She knew their voices. She knew their mannerisms. She could slap them, grab them if they were doing anything. She could walk around that house without her eyesight, but she never got to see what her sons look like as men, as handsome men. She never got to see what her grandchildren look like. It was beautiful. She didn't get to spend time with her last grandson because she was so sick. I don't want that for anybody. And you can prevent that. And that's why I do what I do, is because I feel so strongly for that. So this is not the end, like Lauren said, and this is just another chapter of your story. And this is the most powerful chapter of your story. And it's not going to be easy, but nothing worth talking about ever happened easy. Okay? So, call to action, limiting beliefs, write your receiving money list. Give Lauren a great freaking write-up about how amazing she is. Go out and share your truth this next week. Show up every day for our team while I'm gone. I want all of you to come in and post something encouraging every day in my team, because you are my people who show up to every fucking call. So while I'm gone, learning, getting stronger, trying to deal with being overwhelmed, I want to come back and be like, boom, the team is on fire because all of you showed up in my absence, okay? I'm tired of being the leader. I want to sit back and follow all of you because all of you are fucking great, all right? I'm going to go now because I still have a little packing left to do, believe it or not. I will see you guys when I'm in Miami tomorrow. Thank you, Lauren. You are.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And all you guys, thank you so much for really, you know, voicing your opinions and sharing what's going on with you. And any way I can help you guys, just you let me know.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah,
you're awesome.
You.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.